up? What's up, man? So, Filth had to come out and address this. And he kept it real brief. When he said, yo, this is the worst that I heard this year. What is wrong with him? He's 60 years old. So, Fifth is like laughing up and down, right? This dude been keeping this thing going forever. And it makes no sense.
I just put a little video out, Y and Z, just minding my business. Obviously, people like it. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, more feeling it. But I see your man Curtis posted it, right? And I'm like, this is really, he really Benzino, huh? I mean, what you should be doing, Kurt, is explaining to little Bruce Leroy while Sleaze and Diddy and a bunch of niggas was slutting a rock. I think you're gonna have to owe him an explanation when he gets older. Don't act like we ain't see you on the beach with your Bugs Bunny T-plate, with the camera taking pictures, yeah. You was in your feelings, huh? Nah, Curtis, it's not a good look. But I tell you what, though, the boxing challenge still there, Curtis, for the celebrity. I'm down to make a couple of M's. I'll go 3 rounds with your goofy ass. That's number one. Number two, why don't you see if you could put out a song better than Y and Z? And a video better than that. That's just my mic drop video. Finish shoot the real video. Oh yeah, go stream my new movie. Right, TKO is the #1 movie on, actually it's the #5 movie in the country. That's including Netflix and Prime. Yeah, #1 movie on Tubi, TKO. Shout out to Chris Stokes, Juanita Stokes, Marcus Houston, everybody over there, Footage Films, doing amazing things. Yeah, I get it. 60-year-old man got motion, huh? Yeah, I get it. I understand. You got a lot of the people you influence, a lot of grown men on there mad, huh? Yeah, they mad. Let's see if some of y'all could do this. Let's see if some of y'all could do this though. Let's see niggas under my post. Let's see if some of y'all could do that though. Huh? All you men that want to post under men. Let's see if some of y'all could do that. Huh? Yeah, that's all. Let's see if some of y'all could do that. Since you want to post. You know what I'm saying? Ladies like with the dope bodies, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? You feel me? Curtis, you always been like a hooter type nigga. You really could never dress. Your hairline, your head's this big, your hairline's right here. You gotta keep wearing the fitted. Word on the street is that you be coming up short, Kurt. Yeah. Yeah, that's why Jane transitioned. She transitioned to bad boy, yeah. Yeah. Must be wealth, huh, Kurt? Anyways, Y and Z's not on all platforms yet. It was just something else. But it looks like I'm gonna have to get it on all platforms now. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, shout out to all my supporters, everybody show love out there. Well, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? All you grown men that go into grown men's pictures and posts, y'all need to be whooped. I hope y'all don't got sons, cause man, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, y'all have a good day. I'm gonna leave this up. Salute. Woo, Boston, bitch. I don't give a what you say. You know, you raised a whole bunch of trolls in New York, I get it. You taught a lot of the young in New York how to be trolls and how to be divisive and negative, and I get it. But only you get over with that shit. Nobody else will. That's not the content and what you want to put out there. That's not how you're gonna get money off this. But who am I to say anything, right? What do I know? New York. York was the mecca of hip hop. Seemed like when Curtis came, everything just got divisive in New York. You think kind of New York lost its way almost. It's like New York is, was the birthplace of hip hop, a lot of history, and it wasn't divisive. The reason Atlanta blew because they were together, the groups were together. It's important for the groups to be together. Not everybody's gonna be together, we get it, but it's not gonna be as divisive as it was. It seemed like when Kurt came. Now New York seems like, I don't know. It seemed like the drill sound's starting to kind of play out. So now where's New York go from there? Everybody just wants to be on the internet and just troll everybody and be negative and talk shit. You think that's the way to go? That's not it. But let y'all tell me. I ain't never did that, and I'm doing good. I usually respond, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing good, and I don't never do all that. And I've been in the streets, I know way more than a lot of you. You know what I mean? And you would never know. Don't be on here saying shit. There's like a way to move out here. And a lot of you ain't moving right. You're being influenced by the wrong people.
So right away, Benzino can't shut up. Like, he will not stop. And when you start seeing that, everything keeps going the wrong way or it's not in your favor, you start seeing that everybody else see you for what you are. And once they see you for what you are, they look at you like you disgusted, like you just stole something. Yeah, I know he's from Boston. People don't realize Boston's like a whole nother world. It's not New York. People in the Midwest believe that until they actually have been to Boston. I mean, he just don't like 50 anyway. This goes all the way back. Oh, shit. What the hell? Okay. This goes all the way back to 50 was supposed to do an interview in The Source. Get Rich or Die Trying was coming out. So Benzino's got this war going with Eminem. And 50 has got this album dropping. Now, mind you, 50 Cent is the hottest dude in the game, and the album ain't even dropped yet. So, In the Club is hot, it's finna go. So, right when they're about to do the interview for The Source, right? Because Fifth didn't know pretty much. Now, he wasn't following the Eminem thing at that point. So, all of a sudden, this Benzino thing becomes a big thing. Starts to grow legs. So it was like, oh, we're not finna send our artists over there. We're not gonna do anything with The Source. It's done. So that happened like right in the middle before 50 got there. So when he got there, this was like kind of going on. So he didn't really know too much about it. So when he got there, he was like, because him and Benzino was cool. And then when this happened, he was like, oh, because he was scheduled to come in and do his source thing. The interview, he was like, yeah, cool. We got it. Now everything flipped and went upside down. So once it flipped and went upside down, there was no more deal, no more nothing. So the Get Rich or Die Trying interview never came out. So they was like, you think we need you for the interview? All we do have to take a promo from your old stuff, which they did. They took a photo of 50 from that was old and sold the magazine, and then they just had people write about 50 Cent in the album and everything. But it was no interview with 50, but they just put 50 on the cover to make it look like 50 was in the interview on the source. But Benzino been pissed ever since then. How long has that been? 20 plus years? He still ain't let it go. And Fifth been like F him ever since.
Telling you, let's have some real conversation. I love it. That was dope. Promote my Y and Z. It's not even on all platforms, but it'll be probably tomorrow. Just something I wanted to do. Did it back at the hotel. And look, damn. Millions of views on all platforms. Just, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers saying, oh, I guarantee you, motherfuckers, the niggas that say I'm old, you will not take your shirt off on the internet. You could say age don't, look, how can age mean anything if I'm in better condition than you at my age? How can you be in your 30s and 40s and my shit is in better shape than you at 60? Don't you think that doesn't something click in your head that you're doing something wrong? Huh? When does ignorance, take a back seat? When does common sense kick in and drive? A lot of you are so twisted from this internet, man. You're confused. You're being influenced and you're being conditioned to move in a way, and that way isn't working. It's not getting you no money. It ain't getting you no real good. Like, what's it getting you? Just a bunch of wasted time on the internet talking. Curtis gets money for that because he got all these followers. Y'all are not. So all the clowning, it's just a waste of time. I don't waste my time. I get money. I've been getting money all my life. Big bags, small bags, and all the bags in between. And I've been getting the bags all my life. It hasn't changed from four corners in Boston all the way around the world to right now. It hasn't changed. I gotta be doing something, right? All this.
This is the man that was crying when the police was arresting him. This man stood on a balcony and talked for about 3 hours straight about absolutely nothing. Right. I was going to say y'all the rest of that. So, he's back mad because he was like, yo, I thought me and Fifth was good. Like, man, that stuff we did in the past is in the past. Because Coy Ray don't want nothing to do with him. And that's what Fifth was like. Like, Coy was like, hey, Fifth. And trying to say what's up, and he was like, "Shorty cool, but I don't really want nothing to do with her because of her daddy." And she's like, and Fifth, you know how he is. She was like, "Oh, F that dude. He's stuck in the past. He messing up the money. He don't understand. There's money to be made out here." But Fifth was like, "That's your daddy, no matter what, you know." So he let the project go. But he could have signed Coi Leray a long time ago. But he ain't try to hurt her career, nothing. But then he disrespecting Fifth like that. It's not smart, Benzino. She told you. Quit messing with my career. So Eminem and they was about to pull the plug on her whole deal. She had everything in place. And Eminem then was about to, they was finna end all Coi Leray, everything. Her whole stuff was about to be on the shelf because Benzino kept talking. So she had to come out and go against her daddy publicly on the internet to say, "I don't deal with him. He's not a part of my business, my life. He's old." She had to disrespect her daddy so that she can get that deal. I'm telling you, man, this game is foul. Man, they took Snoop Dogg from Detroit. I don't know, y'all don't probably know Snoop Dogg. Many of y'all probably don't. But Snap was on his way. Snoop came by, and he used to look up to Snoop, right? So he used to call him Uncle Snoop. "Hey, what's up, Uncle Snoop?" Man, and Snoop was like, "Man, I come work with you, get on your song." Because he had met him before. And he was like, Man, Uncle Snoop finna come by, man, and bless me." Now, Eminem wouldn't do nothing with Snap. But Snoop was like, "I'm gonna come by and get on the track and whatever." So Snoop took a bag of weed and took some bread in cash. He was, "As long as you got my money in cash." And then what he did is get the money on the back end of the song. You know, so Snoop gonna get all the money on the back end. But he was supposed to help Snap with his deal. And he kind of screwed him. And he screwed him up. So I didn't get all the details to it, but Snoop kind of screwed him up in the deal. You know, was trying to get Snap's publishing. And then was like, "You gonna probably have to change your name because it's kind of impeding on my imprint, on my title. You know, Snoop Dogg and Snap Dogg is kind of the same thing. So you kind of impeding on my trademark. So I might have to get a little more bread from your publishing." Man, it's a lot of craziness Snoop do, dog. A lot of people just don't know. Snoop is something else. Bronco, that's what we go hard for. So what'd he do? He started going with, Snoop was like, "All right, you ain't gonna take the deal." So when they had a deal waving in front of him, And he ain't sign it because he was like, nah, I ain't getting down with that. Snoop was like, whatever. Went and tried to get anybody else that sound like Snoop Dogg and go work with them. And push their work out. To try to submerge anything with Snap, you won't even see it. Snoop is shiesty, dog. Business Snoop, I would never sign with Snoop to do anything. Man, Benzino was crying. They came kicking down the door, kicking him out the crib. It was just bad, dog. Like really bad. Then you got 16 to 17 other people coming along with this need for attention, and they always trying to come at fifth. Now his baby moms is coming out talking about the same old thing she talked about before when she wouldn't sign the movie rights for Get Rich or Die Trying. That's why the movie had to be the way it was with her. And they was like, well, this story was supposed to be a little different. That's why the conflict with him and her, you see it ain't play out in the movie as much as, you know, it did in real life. And they had her character being all supportive. So they was like, well, why is it so supportive? Like, she was a good woman and all that. He was like, I had to do that or she wouldn't sign off on the movie. He was like, if I showed her doing what she really was doing at that time, he was like, all she was doing was not working and living off my money. He was like, you was shot up. You wasn't getting no money. You wasn't selling no drugs. You was all shot up. He was like, we was living off my signing bonus. He's like, I had a publishing deal for like $100,000, and we was living off that. So my publishing deal was taking care of us. I had a $100,000 publishing deal. So my $100,000 publishing deal is going to this, taking care of me, and she living off that. She ain't even working. Canada, Montreal, what's up? Yep, don't forget my cash app is Carceno, Karceno, and super chat work. It all work. Everything's legit. So the word is out. Like, when the whole neighborhood know what time it is, you know, the word is out. Like, she was no saint. You know, she's a chick from the hood. The movie have you all twisted, believing she was this good girl who just was supportive. She wanted him to do better. He had to do all that because she was letting her friends get in her head who don't have nothing and mess her whole position up. That's why she ended up didn't get a lot of money out the deal. If she'd have played her position, she'll be loaded right now. And that's what happened in the hood now. You got other chicks who see their friend in a good position and they ain't got nothing. They ain't got no man, they ain't got nobody, they ain't got nothing going on. And they be giving advice to the girl who in the good position. Girl, he playing you because I read where this guy got this much money and he had to give his girl this. Like they wasn't even married. For real? Yeah, girl. You know you entitled. Yeah, Marquise money. So now they keep enticing her to bring up old shit because now old shit is the new thing to go. So when they keep coming with that now yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah, they do. But she had a very lowbrow, mentality. She didn't see the big picture. She saw the small picture. She was like, well, you 50 Cent. You got all this money now. So you the biggest thing in the world. You got all this money. So you supposed to be out here just blowing all your money. That wasn't in 50's design. 50 went broke paying taxes, invested in companies and buildings. He's trying to be a mogul. He wasn't trying to be another broke rapper buying a gold chain, cell phones, and cars. His reckless spending was his first spending, was that house. He's like, I went from my grandma's basement to a mansion. And he's like, that was my mistake. And he's like, I ain't know nothing. I'm a dude from the hood, I come from my grandma's basement to now. Got his own mansion. And that was Mike Tyson's old mansion that Tyson couldn't afford to keep up with. Rick Ross got Holyfield old mansion that he couldn't afford to keep up with. The one down in Georgia. So now he's been using that property and mostly as an agricultural farm so he can get tax breaks. Oh no, they didn't want Fifth involved in that shit. Have you seen any new music get pushed out under the new Death Row? Let's be honest. How many of y'all saw the new Death Row records? How many of y'all saying, man, That's the way I should be. That new Death Row, boy. The new Death Row records. Come on. That's all the scam. And the scam was making you believe that that was going to be the case. It was never going to be the case. Well, Sophia had her own plans. So when you have people that have their own agenda and own plans, this becomes the situation. I never had, like, I didn't care what was going to happen. As long as they put the old stuff back on streaming, I'm cool. But Suge now, Snoop, this is why he wanted Dre in there and was like, look, we finna get this money on his back end. So Dre gonna get his money. Snoop gonna get his money. Now Snoop want writing credits for a lot of his stuff. He want to be added to it. Because it pisses Dre off every time you're around Snoop. Snoop get real arrogant and start saying stuff is about him. And he want to get Daz a lot of credit for his work. And then he wants Daz publishing. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. It was like, what happened to black ownership? So you want to take all my back end money. And because I don't want to play ball, you trying to freeze me out. It's like, well, you didn't sign the paper. So I got to sign all my shit over to Snoop. So you could pay me pennies. So you didn't have a problem with Suge Knight. You just wanted to be Suge Knight. See, that was their problem. And a lot of times it's just like that. The dude they complain about him because they really want to be in his position. Same thing with Eazy-E. They complained about Eazy-E for how long? Next to forever. Eazy-E was the problem. We gotta get past it. Eazy-E holding us back. So it went from Eazy-E to, think about it. Uh-oh, my bad. Yeah, it went from Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, right? Cube left first, went and got his own thing. Then after Cube got his own thing, what'd he do? First thing Cube do, right? Blamed Easy. Jerry Hiller ripping me off. They never ripped off Ice Cube. Do you know why Ice Cube problem was? He didn't understand how he was going to get paid. Ice Cube was getting two checks. He was getting one big check for being the artist, part of his record deal, but what he getting paid per units on an album out of a group. Then he was gonna get a writer. He was gonna get his check for being a writer on the song. So everything that he chose to write that was gonna be on the album, he was gonna get that. That's another check that's coming. He felt he was being shortchanged. And this is why the movie is so crazy. The person that put that in his head was the racist white guy who ran Priority, Brian. And Brian put that all in his head. And this racist white guy didn't have a dime. His only claim to fame was old songs. And he was using the California Raisins to push his old music catalog. They had nothing. That's why they was like, hey, this is a new sound. Brian's like, hey, I can get behind this. It cost him nothing because they produced the whole record themselves. The album was already done. Eazy-E financed that whole album. He put the money up. He paid for the studio time. They did most of it in a garage. When they sent it in for mastering and to get it produced, Interscope didn't have much to do. The Eazy-E album came right behind NWA. They had so many songs, they just made it like it's Eazy-E, and then we got NWA. So the confusion came in that because they didn't understand business. They didn't understand that Eazy-E is the artist and he's the promoter and the producer of it. This is his shit. Yeah, well, as I told you, Eazy-E's an artist and he owns the record label. So the majority and the lion's share of the money is going to go to Eazy-E. They thinking, hey, man, I wrote those songs on Eazy-E record. How does it say Eazy-E's getting all this money? It says Eazy-E on the cover of the album. That's what Eazy told him. He said, no, this is my album. Y'all eating off the NWA, but you getting paid off both of them. He said, motherfucker, it's my company. Cube was jealous for a lot of reasons. Cube wasn't getting a lot of women. Everybody else is getting all the girls. He was salty about that. He was salty about his position in the group. He felt Ren was getting, and he was cool with Ren because they did all the writing. But Ren was getting all the shine because he's Eazy's homeboy. So he just was an excuse maker, a complainer, because he didn't understand the business. Then Brian started seeing how Q was this, messed up. So Brian the white racist guy he is, suave businessman, criminal, he knew how to do what he needed to do to get what he wanted. He said, that's the girl that Ice Cube been parading around, the girl that lives by his house. Good old Kim. Cube, she be like leading Cube by the hand. Cube, man, Kim, they don't respect me. That's all right, baby. Brian was like, oh, this is my angle. Brian started talking to Kim and was like, you're Cube's girl, right? Yeah. You seem like you're business savvy. Yeah, tell him to come to my office so I could just hear him out with his grievances. I hear that he's unhappy. He doesn't have a contract with Eazy-E, does he? Well, I'm thinking Cube is good enough to have his own deal. Cube didn't have to make a demo. He was going to sell Ice Cube like he was another member from NWA. That's why on America's Most, he's wearing all black, like he's still in NWA when he wasn't. Because here's the funny thing, Cube didn't want to, hey, how you doing? Here's the funny thing about it. Cube never wanted to curse on records. None of Ice Cube rhymes used to have curses. No profanity in the raps. Ice Cube used to do the nursery tale rhyme. The one that became a big hit on America's Most. He had that way back when the first NWA out. Ice Cube is telling you how the story should go. That was his old rhyme. Talking about she was important, lived down the street in the Air Jordan. He just kind of freaked it a little bit and changed it, but he never used to rap with profanity back in the day. Because he had a mother and father that didn't play that. So his raps would be clean. So they had to convince Ice Cube, look, Cube, this is a gritty street album. So this is what it is. So I'm not saying this. We'll do a radio version, but this NWA. So no, I ain't saying it like that. We gonna say it raw. Yeah, Ice Cube wrote Easier Said Than Done. Go back and watch the video. You'll see Ice Cube lip syncing the whole song in the background while Eazy-E is rapping. Easier Said Than Done don't have any profanity. The song Radio, that didn't have profanity. He had about 2-3 songs that didn't have profanity. Cube wrote those. That's why when they dissed Ice Cube on the song, that's why they said, got the nerve to cuss. Only reason people peeping your album because they thought it was us. You got the nerve to cuss. The only reason people was peeping your album because they thought it was us. Which is true. Good marketing play by Priority to make it appear like Ice Cube was still in NWA. because it wasn't the internet at the time. Most people still didn't know what was going on. So they was like, Ice Cube from NWA, he got his own album. So that's how you sell 1 million records. Plus the songs got to be banging too. Now, I don't know. 50 had to let that happen. Listen, if 50 Cent didn't do what he said he was going to do, you wouldn't respect it. Who would, right? Well, that's because there's a lot out there. Well, if you give people reason, that's what they'll do. How you doing? So if Fifth was going to do it that way, yeah, Tony A almost had a second album. It was all contingent on what Terminate on Sight do. Buck was kicked out the group by then. So he became a featured artist. All the songs he was on, it was featuring Young Buck. He was no longer considered part of the group. So all the songs he was on the album, he was a feature. So when Buck came back the second time, you know, they thought they worked past all that. But the problem still remained with Buck. Once they did the last G-Unit album, when they had Kid, they had The Beast and The Beauty. And he put them out independently. At that time, everybody was moving towards, they were moving towards digital. That was just starting the disc to digital, because Prince ran into 50 at the same time. Prince was having success selling his album, still selling physical copies, and that's when Prince was wearing the 3 glasses. He had the 3 with the 1 up there for the middle eye, and he had his album out at the time, and they were both doing this independent deal. So he was talking to 50 like, I heard you doing an independent album. So I was saying this back in like 93, 92, and people thought I was crazy. Artists owning their own music. How dare they? When we're the ones that created. Meanwhile, what did he tell 50? He said, if one pig sleeps with another pig and they have a baby, what did they just have? Another pig? Right. Now, if that pig goes ahead and sleeps with another pig, they have another baby. Now you got 4 pigs. Now you have 5 pigs. Soon you have a whole lot of pigs that goes down in a row. Now, pigs are filthy animals. They lie in their own waste. They do ungodly things. Right? Pig is filthy. This is what Prince is telling Phil. Then he's like, and you have all these pigs. Who's feeding these pigs? From the very first pig. How they're eating. Who's feeding them? He was like the owner of the pig. He was like, no. The pigs own themselves. They're eating off of you. I was like, whoa, Prince. My name is Prince. The pigs own themselves. But they're eating off of you because they own you. Woo! Prince, you see why they took him out. So everything began to change. Man, I know so many Prince stories. That's why if you're on the Patreon, you've only heard 3 so far. We got a lot to go. The Charlie Murphy bodyguard stories, that is taking over Patreon. People love those. So, well, that's why it was called The Beauty of Independence. So people like Ebro and all the people that took 50 Cent at the radio station, the program directors, they're taught because they're paid by the record companies. They're paid by the streaming companies. They don't want artists to ever be successful being independent. No, that's the last thing they want, because that breaks the model. If one guy do it, then the rest gonna want to follow. They can't have that, because then they lose money. There's a white girl over in Brixton, London, England, in Brixton, had her whole wedding paid for by Tupac's royalties. She didn't even know who Tupac was. Tupac's royalties was paying for her wedding. This is the problem. These artists retire and can't leave nothing back for their children. And it's always the brothers. Yesterday, I had a debate with those women, not the same women, but this one lady came up, and it was just so jarring that I couldn't even believe it. This one woman, or lady, however you want to word it, She believes that black people are just making excuses. Every human being on the planet can do what they want to do if they just cut out the drinking, the cigarettes, and the smoking weed. Then they would have money for everything that they want to do. You just got to cut those things out. And I'm like, does she hear herself? Like, and this is a black woman that's saying this. And she was, I'm not helping anybody. They can help themselves. They need help. They can just come knock on my door. I'm like, so it was incredibly crazy. Jordan's shoe deal is the worst in business history. It's a model of what not to do ever in a shoe deal. Nike was able to fleece Michael Jordan into agreeing to have his own brand, Jordan brand, which is now separate from Nike. So if Jordan brand flops, its negativity won't hurt Nike stock. It's a subsidiary of Nike. So they're basically paying Nike to use the logo and the imprint. Now the part they do is they split their royalties on the Air Jordan. Everything else, like Team Flight and all of that, that's Jordan's. Like, you get to keep all that stuff. But the Air Jordans, we split the revenue on those. We still get our money off those. But in the deal, Nike people run the entire company. They have all the voter rights. The board seats of the company, it's ran by Nike. That's why Marcus left the company. He said, I gotta go to Nike to get approval on my daddy's company. And I got a position higher than these people. And they're telling me what to do. That don't make sense. Now the other two kids, they just like, hey, play your role, get paid, and take care of your family. Marcus is like, F that. I don't want to be a part of this. I want to be somewhere where I ain't got to answer to these people. Because I already smacked this dude. And that's how Marcus is. Marcus has got a lot of his grandfather in him. So Marcus wanted to slap dude ASAP. So when things didn't go their way, Marcus kind of let it be known. Marcus is like, look, it is what it is with this. I don't even care about it. So that's when Michael Jordan told him, all right, but this is on you. I'll support you, but sink or swim, this is your baby. So he came out with what was it? Jordan brand something. The trophy room. And they had a physical location in Orlando. And they had the trophy room, the very first Jordans they came out with, those trophy room ones. Those were the only ones of worth value. Then he realized that in this day and age, a physical location, Jordan was there for day one. After that, they was on their own. Now, after the physical location and the whole thing was done, Mm. Michael Jackson learned the game pretty early. So a lot of his problems ensued once he bought the Beatles catalog. Once Yoko Ono sold him that catalog, the white people went crazy. She did that in the 80s. And he paid like 40 million. He got that money like quick. Bought the catalog. Paul McCartney mad. And immediately Michael Jackson went from the #1 superstar in the world to Wacko Jacko. Like overnight. The media turned against him. He sleeps in a gas chamber. He bought the Elephant Man's bones. You would never see a negative word about Michael Jackson ever until the day he bought that Beatles catalog. That's when it all started. Because he had a piece of wealth. Generational wealth. They had to get it back at all costs. Because see, with that, you can feed your family. With that, you can write your own stories. You can have 500 million in loans. That's why Michael Jackson could never be broke. Because he had that kind of collateral. He can keep taking loans on that catalog for eternity. Because it was worth billions. Michael Jackson died. They said what he owed was about close to 500 million. Right? So as soon as he dies, in less than a year, his catalog was pretty much, everything was paid for. Michael Jackson is now worth over $3 billion. This movie is only finna increase his catalog. I was supposed to see the movie premiere tonight. I think I'm gonna wait. Well, when others decide it's time, then we'll start, I guess, seeing some truth and reality settling in. But until then, no, nobody's gonna care, dog. $50 holding off his album. I'm hearing the algorithm's gonna come out either September or October. But don't quote me on it. Well, yes, they had a bunch of loans. See, here's the thing about owning music and catalogs. You can own everything. And if you own it, that's great. But if no one plays it, you don't get paid. So what do? They cook up a conspiracy. They tried to pay people to lie. So if they do that, then they're really hurting everybody. Hey, y'all. So they paid everybody like it was a conspiracy to lie. They tried to do that with Aaron Carter. Any kid that would be around Michael Jackson, because he wasn't married. Like, you couldn't get that out of Michael. Because it's easy to pin it on Michael. Michael hung around the kids. He had a children's hospital. He's a guy that never really had a chance to have a childhood, so he was like one big kid. Neverland, the amusement parks. And he hung around kids because kids was honest. Kids didn't want nothing from him. They weren't trying to come be his friend for money. So that's why he hung around the kids and had fun with the kids. For that reason, particularly. He hung around the adults. They act like kids, but it was conniving, pretending to be a friend with some type of need in hand. Hey, man. Yeah, man, we trying, but, way these costs are going up. I hate to be a pain. So, and that's what everybody you try to hang out with and just have a good time when you can't do it, because every time you come around, they got the hat in hand. So when people start coming with hat in hand and they start, that tap dance salmon. Yes, AZ got part 3 of Do or Die. And I'm just like, that's when you're just not creative no more. All the creative juices are gone. When you keep doing catchy phrases for albums. Oh, I had a classic album. This was the name of it. Let me make a sequel of it and screw that up. That's like Nas making Illmatic 2. That's why when he started doing Magic 1, 2, and 3, Nas didn't care. He's doing it for the fact that he feel like rapping. He liked the beats that Hit Boy was making, so he felt like rapping again. Those weren't made to make money. That was to put the work out there because he wanted to just get it out. He had a lot of work in him. He did like 6 albums. He was feeling it. Yeah, it was a good projects. But it shows no creativity, no imagination. This is why Jay-Z is the way he is. He has no creativity, no imagination. But he's smart. He knows how to make money off the creative people. So he keeps creative people around so that he can make money off their genius. That's why I said this. I don't believe this guy had an original thought ever. He's like LeBron James. They don't have an original thought in their brain stems. They don't even work. That EPMD was the one that was hitting for me. EPMD, we back in business. But that Kanye and Nas album was dope too. But you knew them two was gonna fall out. Anybody that work with Kanye gonna fall out. Then he getting mad at Camera. What you getting mad at Cam for? You the one said you sucked dick. That's what Cam was like, dog. Why you mad at me? You the one said you did that. What, people were supposed to gloss past that? I was like, ding, I knew it. I knew it. He was a weirdo dude. Too weird. You ain't gonna get mad at Cam. Yo, don't play with me. What you mean playing with you? You the one said it. That's why mostly Kanye news I don't even report on. I don't even say nothing about that dude. I just like, they was like, Kanye new album out. I'm through with Kanye. Like, nah, y'all deal with it. I don't keep running back. Every time the white man don't give him a toy, he get mad and be like, it's racist over there. They racist, y'all. Telling us something like we don't know. Like, for real? You just figured that out? They not letting us get a seat at the table. And be, really? No? You kidding, Kanye? What else they did? Then they said I would have to have 400 million just to come in the door. Really, folks? That's all? Like, what else they tell you? They didn't say the N-word, did they? One of them did. Wow. Unbelievable. This is news. This dude is just slow as molasses. Oh yeah, he from Georgia, so it's pond water. Slower than that pond water, boy. All right, kids. I'm out the door. Big moment.